Mark chapter 2 verses 14 and 15. As he walked along, he saw Levi, son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax collector's booth. "Follow me," Jesus told him, and Levi got up and followed him. While Jesus was having dinner at Levi's house, many tax collectors and sinners were eating with him and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. Jesus called Levi, who was a tax collector, while he was working in his tax office. He is better known as Matthew, the same Matthew who later wrote one of the beloved Gospels. Yet calling him to be a disciple would have been greatly controversial. Tax collectors would consider to be atrocious sinners. Anyone who accepted them faced excommunication. Because Jesus is beyond the outward appearance and into the heart, it was not a problem for him to accept Matthew as one of his followers. However, for the novice disciples, Peter, Andrew, James, and John, it was no doubt very difficult to be in the same circle as a man they had treated as a dog, hated as a bitter enemy. Do you think Jesus had a church business meeting before calling Matthew? I don't think so. It was because of God's grace that any of the disciples had been called to follow Jesus. Yet they would complain that Jesus had called Levi, the great sinner, without discussing it with them. This is how the establishment is built. It was shocking for them to see Levi leave everything and immediately follow Jesus, just as they had done. It was even more shocking to be invited over to his house for dinner, not just with Levi, but with his fellow tax collectors and other sinners. They were surrounded by those the Jews had excommunicated, those who were treated as less than human. The disciples knew Levi well. When these fishermen paid their tax, they would turn around and spit on the ground in disgust. Imagine their shock. "Oh, now he's one of us? And we have to eat not only with him, but with more of his filthy kind?" On that day, their identity was shaken, and culture shock hit them like a tidal wave. Of course, we cannot deny the possibility that they accepted him graciously. Perhaps they opened their arms and welcomed him as a brother. This is hard to believe, however, when we consider how fiercely they fought about who was the greatest right up until the last moments of Jesus' life. Is there anyone who is like a tax collector in our lives? Anyone who we consider inferior to us and unworthy of our attention? How do we react if we found that a person sitting next to us in church? It is by God's grace that we have been saved and adopted as His children. However, as time goes by, we develop the idea that we deserve salvation, to our great shame. And when we see people who we consider detestable, we do not think they deserve to be saved. When Jesus called Levi, He demolished every social barrier that humanity has created. If we have been trying to rebuild the walls that Jesus destroyed, the walls of prejudice, discrimination, and misunderstanding, may God give us courage and faith to demolish them.